Hey, this is Geek Public Radio. I am Topher. With me, as always, is Crazy Chris.
Hello there.
What is happening? This is Geek Public Radio. If you want to check us out and see more of what we do, go to geekpublicradio.com, and that's where you will find all of our fun things, articles, podcasts, videos, you name it. We have it on there, and so give us a check.
Awesome. So, in light of what we're going to be doing today, what we're going to be talking about, allow me to offer this. Sorry. That joke was in such poor taste. Anyways.
If we would have had video.
If we had a video, it would have made a lot more sense. I'm sorry. Yes, as Mr. Topher mentioned, I am Crazy Chris. I am so happy you guys have decided to join us today. Make sure to check us out on Geek Public. I need to get my arms off the table because that is just sounding awful in the mic. Make sure you check us out on geekpublicradio.com where you can find all of our videos, past, present, and the future videos you can find there as well. So make sure you sign up. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure to like and subscribe. Smash the notification bell so that way you can be alerted every time that we drop a video of some type of relevancy to the modern culture. So anyways, yeah, man, we're going to be talking a little bit today about the new Marvel series that just dropped on Disney Plus, a wretched hive of scum and villainy. However, the series itself, I'm going to sum it up. I'm just going to sum it up. We'll talk about it, but it's meh. That's how I feel about it. Just meh.
It's definitely one of those.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a long, exasperated sigh.
So let's kick it off, just so everybody knows, like, what we're talking about. Like, we sat down and watched it and had a good time, I guess.
Discussing things.
Yeah, we had more fun. We
yeah,
had more fun talking about it than we actually had watching the movie,
right,
or the show. That kind of goes back to what my problem is.
My benchmark is really simple. If I have to pause to have a conversation, your story's not engaging enough for me. I'm serious. I mean that. Like, if I have to pause and talk about something, then I don't. It's not. I want to watch it straight through, have all my questions answered. I don't want to sit there and speculate because 20 minutes ago something happened that you never explained. Which.
So
I don't have to watch the Hawkeye thing now. That's cool. I never watched that, so I had no context.
So to go back.
Spoilers, obviously, for people. Spoilers. So
yeah,
if you haven't watched the show yet, just bear that in mind. Anyways, go ahead.
So we're looking at now. This isn't just our opinion. I'm actually looking at Variety coming out and saying that Disney Echo fails to live up to the potential of its Marvel superhero as a review.
Yeah, which I thought was weird is that there weren't a lot of. I didn't see a lot of hype for Echo leading up to its release. I saw yesterday. I saw like a trailer on YouTube pop up for it, and I was like, "Oh, that's a series that's coming. Oh, it's coming out tonight. Neat." And I do believe, thinking about it though, I think I'd seen it one other time, but I'm one of those people that I will skip ads on YouTube. I can't stand. I hate the ads. I just won't pay for YouTube Premium. I refuse.
It's $11.
I know. I just refuse. I won't pay for Disney Plus either. So I mean, it's. I'm a crotchety old bastard. I won't do this.
The station pays for it, so that's how we get it.
Yeah.
So. But so like, if you read through the article from Variety, and I could do this, but we're literally talking about it. I could show you, but why would I sit here and read an article to you? Their whole problem with this is there's a lot of filler.
Yeah,
it is something. Like, I don't have a problem with the fact that the character is missing a leg.
No,
that's
comic book. I believe that's comic.
Like the idea of it, giving her a disability is okay. I mean, that's character development, and she has something that she has to overcome. Okay, her being deaf. Yeah, there's a lot of subtitles in an English movie, but for the most part, you're reading her responses. You're not, everybody else is talking and signing at the same time. So you can, it's kind of limited. It makes it funny when certain things are happening so that, she's not hearing anything. So she's just standing there oblivious to stuff going on behind her. that I kind of like, oh, that's funny.
No, I apologize. She was not an amputee in the comics. That's my bad. Sorry, she is deaf. That is absolutely. I thought I knew that was the case. The daughter.
Well, I mean, because it was the flip side of Daredevil being blind. You know,
right?
She's deaf. He's blind. And the fight scene they had in the first episode.
It's really that was actually really well done.
Yeah, it was
really well choreographed, and
the fight scenes. It was really nice to see it pop off like immediately into fights.
Yes.
You know, you saw a little bit of the stuff. I might be biased being the fact that I am an archaeologist. So like the look at the Native American stuff and including the Native American culture and whatnot. I mean, if you have a problem with it, then you probably have a problem with Yellowstone, and you probably have a lot of because there's a lot of shows that the characters are embracing their culture.
What was weird for me,
I have no problem with that.
Weird for me was not, as you described, the explanation of her heritage or that she was an amputee or that she's deaf. Like, none of those things bother me. I have a lot of friends that are deaf. I have started to learn ASL to just be more adaptive to that. Plus, I mean, if the world goes to complete crap, you know, having a universally understood language would be really.
I mean,
nice
but ASL
it is American Sign Language, but it's still universally adapted across. I mean, there are variants of it. Just like fun fact of the day, ASL has dialects, which I thought was like super cool to learn about. Like, you can actually tell where somebody learned sign language by how they how they cant their fingers or stuff. I was like, that's ridiculously cool.
Well, there, then like there was a deaf school in the Central America was left to its own devices.
It is called shorthand when they abbreviate, by the
way. But
going to hell for that joke.
But when the deaf school was left to their own devices, they actually created their own sign language.
Yeah.
And that is now a rising sign language that's out there. There's like 5 different types of sign language that are out. And that one from Central America, South America, like became its own. It's growing.
So I think the inclusion of all those things in the series, I thought that was not all of those things, but I think the inclusion of ASL in the series was awesome. I thought it added like a depth of character, right? Because it didn't really detract from it too much, is what I'm saying. It wasn't distracting.
It was something for a character. It wasn't something that was like added
into. Right. It was. Yes. And thank you. And it was organic. There we go.
Yeah. That's where I have no problem with like inclusion and all that stuff. Like, if you have a deaf character, the ASL is going to be in
surprise. Those characters exist in comics. It's weird. It's almost like you don't have to have a black Superman. It's weird. It's almost like Henry Steele is a guy.
Yeah, well, I would say like there is a black Superman, but
that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Like, they exist. It's okay.
but no, but the idea. It's just so much filler stuff that could have been pulled out of it and condensed down into a really action-packed, good 2-hour movie.
You know what? I feel like that's fair, because I was going to say, out of everything that we watched, I feel like there was maybe 60 minutes to 90 minutes of it that was actually engaging and entertaining, and then the rest of it was just like, meh. I mean, like, I don't care.
We'll see where this fits into the timeline and like where it brings stuff in and brings stuff out and opens doors for new things.
I just hope that they don't just leave it sitting by the wayside with no continuity or anything like that. Well, no, like they've done with so many other things.
You're going to have the continuity with Daredevil, the new Daredevil. You're going to have continuity with all of that stuff. Like the
Kingpin needs an origin story after this show. I'm just saying, like 100%. If they do not give Kingpin his own series.
Is Kingpin fatter now?
Vincent D'Onofrio?
No, the character Kingpin looks more like he's a circle.
like the actual comic book.
Yeah. Like he wasn't like in the Daredevil, he was a big guy, but he wasn't a circle.
No. So what's really funny about that is a lot of people I've always misconstrued Daredevil as being like this big fat guy, like similar to the Blob from the X-Men. Daredevil Kingpin? Was not fat. He is
Kingpin.
Sorry, Daredevil. God, Kingpin was never. He was not fat. He was
just a big.
He was just a monstrously strong human being.
Right.
Like on par with he could keep up with strong superheroes and hold his own. So right. I think I kind of liked that nod. I did notice that, so I did kind of like that nod to how like, he's supposed to look.
Like
he looks swole.
Yeah, like he's sitting there and it's like, okay. either he got like way big, or they decided to fluff up the suit,
which is probably what they did
to make it like, because it's more.
You got to give me the Spider-Man versus Kingpin fight now.
But yeah, so like I've been reading these things, and a lot of overseas is like, oh, so she's American, yada yada. Like, well, no, she's Native American. She's Choctaw. There's a lot of different. It'd be like saying, oh, so your Scottish hero, yada yada. Yeah, so he's British.
Right. Yeah.
Like, no, he's Scottish. Like, no, he's English.
He's English.
He's British.
Yeah.
He's
I mean, I can't really even say anything. They voted to keep their English. You know
right.
what I mean?
So, but you know what I'm saying? Like, it'd be like saying, hey, that's literally just 2 hours down the road. So,
well, that's everything in England. It's 2 hours down the road.
Like you can literally drive 4 hours from the point of one thing to the. You can't even drive from the bottom of Indiana to the top of Indiana in 2 hours.
No, you cannot. No, it's, I want to say
it literally makes me think that Great Britain.
It's like 4.5 hours from tip to tip.
Like it makes me think that England is the size of Indiana.
I want to say it's barely bigger than all of New England put together.
Because they said it was like England was like could fit inside Michigan.
It's possible,
and I think
like,
we're longer. And I think we're longer.
Accurate.
I think we're longer than Michigan.
Square footage wise, it's probably accurate because Michigan is actually divided in 2 separate sections, and a lot of people forget that. They think of it as the one little thing, but it's really like there's another huge land mass above the lake.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah, but anyways, it's
Mackinac, like Mackinac and the Mackinac Island and all that stuff up top. Yeah.
So, anyways, but enough about geography.
Yeah, you have to go to Wisconsin to come around to that side, or take the boat.
Or take the ferry.
Yeah.
But anyways, so with that in mind, with that being in mind, Echo was, I think, paced poorly. And hey, are we having an issue with my mic here? Here we go. All right, is this better?
You're just kind of low, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I can choke up on it. That's not a problem. But Echo suffered, in my opinion, and this has been a common criticism. After looking at some things, after reviewing some stuff, it's been a common criticism that Echo suffered from pacing, and I'm trying. I don't know how close you want me to be to this. Is that better?
No, that's way too far. That's too far.
Is this right here?
Yeah,
right here. Okay, cool. It just wouldn't be a show without a technical difficulty. That's the way this thing works.
Well, no, it's just one of those things. Like I said, we're doing new stuff, and we're using new mics, and trying to figure out where they sit.
Yeah, I have a naturally loud voice.
Yeah, because you start talking, it's like boom, boom, boom.
Right.
Hey, and then everything just goes red.
Off. So, and that's why, I have to be able to, anyways, moderate and modulate my voices. So, in any case, Echo suffers from a lot of pacing issues, as we've discussed. The character development I felt was good. I want to say good. Like, I can give high marks for character development because they did a good job of explaining her backstory. They really dived in a little bit with Kingpin as well. Some of the additions.
You mean like they connected her to Kingpin? They did all
like they're supposed
stuff.
to, but like her whole origin is rooted in that relationship too, right? That's a big part of why Echo is who she is because of her relationship with Kingpin.
Right.
So
like after her dad died, she
correct. So including that in there would just
uncle.
Not including that would have been stupid, and I probably would have pissed off comic book fans even more than there already are. So high marks for character development, low marks for pacing.
Yeah, that's literally
action,
like
and this is the thing. Here's what and this is probably where I'm going to stand out, where other people are not. I'm giving it low marks for action. It was not. It was so slow at parts that it was not. It did not feel like an action series, except for episode
they're
1.
saying it was like the bloodiest thing that Disney's done, and you're like,
close.
No, it's about on par for Disney, like Marvel violence.
Yeah.
Like if you think of like the most violent Marvel stuff, that's on par with what
I give it low marks for action. I do.
I find the action scenes were kind of fun.
They were fun. There was just not enough of them.
Yeah, it was like I said. If
this
you would have taken, if you would take
an absolute badass, Echo's a badass, and you did not showcase that near enough.
You strip 3 hours out of it.
Yeah.
And condense all of the stuff down that's needed. You might be able to get a 2.5 hour movie, and have like a good, tight.
Sure.
Like fast-paced still poignant with the family members and dealing with the past and all of the other stuff. You could have done all of that but here's the problem. Nobody would watch that movie.
Nope.
Because not enough people know
who Echo is.
Right.
It would have been another box office bomb a la Marvel.
Right.
Or Marvels.
So I guess, in a sense, if they're making stuff just for Disney, then I don't know what the budget was on this. Then it was literally just something to kind of tease everybody.
Well,
we got
the entire
more
first
stuff
episode
coming.
was like primarily a lot of they used a lot of shots that were already.
Yeah, about half of the episode.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I knew some of that was not from the show, and it was you can clearly tell. Like, and it's funny too because you can always tell when they use shots from other films, and they're like, "No, you can't." Yes.
Well,
yes,
like her creeping underneath the window and watching Ronan, like kill all of the stuff. No, was it Ronan? No, that was who Hawkeye turns into when he goes. Yeah, Ronan.
I was trying to figure out. I was like,
my brain went Ronan the Accuser, and I was like, I think I'm saying this wrong.
No, it's Ronan. Ronan is Hawkeye's not alter ego, I guess, just his
when he loses
dark side version of himself. It was awesome, by the way. Ronan was one of my favorite characters.
So when
that they only briefly touched upon that in the
so you see that fight, you see whatever, you see your father die again, you see other stuff with Fisk again and whatnot, but. Honestly,
to tell the story, I understand why they use it, so I'm not knocking that at all.
I mean, that should have took a whole lot off the budget.
I mean, there's nothing like recycling stuff you've already done just to be like, here, we can just like add one little shot here. Perfect.
Well, I mean, like all of the opening stuff was new. All of the stuff leading up to whatever, like her look back at like who she was as a kid. A lot of that was new. It's just the stuff that dealt with her turning on Kingpin and doing what she did in Hawkeye.
Right.
Like that needed to be because it literally dies in with her wanting to take over.
Yes.
So, like I said, 2.5 hour movie.
I don't even think you would have needed that. I really don't, because you could have gotten rid of a lot of those shots. A lot of the reuse shots.
Well, no, I'm talking. That's including getting rid of the reuse shots.
Okay.
I think you can trim it down to a good 2.5 hours.
I think that's still too long.
Out of the 5 hours that it is.
I'm saying maybe an hour and a half. I would say pushing 2 hours. You might be able to. 2 hours probably is the sweet spot for a movie like that. Because
maybe
you can give a good 40 minutes of the of the backstory.
But you want to make sure that you have because. Her heritage in
I'm hurt from this pacing. I don't think you understand how hurt I am.
Her heritage and stuff is something that I like to keep exploring.
I think that should be a good chunk of the movie.
I like how that is explored.
Yeah.
I like how all of that stuff, and I like the play on the Indians taking advantage of rich white people.
Yeah.
Like that was funny. Like he was like, oh, like, we can just go get. Do you have anything like Navajo? And he's like, oh, if you go down there, you can get that cheap crap that's made in Malaysia.
Yeah.
Or you can come here and buy something that's literally
real authentic. Yeah.
Real authentic, and they're like, okay. And then when they leave, like they're decked out with the leather jackets with the dangly tassels and like they're all like.
They look the stereotypical part.
Yeah, and it's like that made me laugh because I know there are people that go out and do that. Like
absolutely.
Yeah,
like 100%.
Like, we want something authentic.
I've been on several reservations, and when I tell you that they're pretty much in jeans and t-shirts, that they're in jeans and t-shirts.
Yeah,
like they don't dress like you think they dress. So
no,
there's nothing.
No, but it's just funny. He's like, and like these like, oh, we got this cool thing, and it's just a pot, and he's like making this big thing about it, and he's like, oh, this, that, and the other, and he starts pumping on the table, and he was like, buy the damn thing, buy the damn thing, buy the damn thing. And it sounds like he's just chanting.
Yeah. No, there were parts.
That's fun. That's the stuff that I'd like to keep in.
Like I said, there were parts of this entire series and show that were entertaining to me. And I feel like, as we've stated, I think condensing it down to make it shorter than it is, it reeks of what's the word I'm looking for? When they stretch something out, it reeks of that. Where they stretched it out to make more money.
It's filler. Like you always can feel filler. Like like, does this need to be here? And it almost feels like the whole series is filler for the next
installation.
Like I said, if it would have been just a movie, then you could have knocked it out, stepped it in, and used that as the stepping stone for the next section of, I mean, I liked a few of the series that some people don't like. Like, it seems like a one-off, but the werewolf.
Talking about Werewolf by Night?
Yeah, like I liked that.
Which I don't know how they got away with that name.
But no, they owned it. They had it first.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. They was way before.
That's why it's called Werewolf the Apocalypse. Never mind. That's okay. That's right.
Yeah.
We had that whole discussion.
Yeah, Werewolf by Night literally is. I liked it. I had fun with it. It was fun. But I like werewolf stuff. I like all of that. Yeah. It's kind of cheesy. I like the way they did it as a black and like a monster movie. Thing.
So overall, Echo. I'm. If we get it you want to do that at 10? You want to do it at 5?
Let's do it out of 5.
Let's do it out of 5
because that's what it could have used is being cut in half
instead of 5 hours. So let's rate each and every segment. We'll just say 2.5. We'll give it
2.5 stars.
It was good for 2.5 hours.
It's 2.5 stars because it needed to be 2.5 hours.
Yeah, I like that. That's exactly, and I feel like that's super fair.
Yeah,
because and then people will be like, "Oh my God, you're only giving it 2.5 stars." That's average.
Yeah, no, literally, it's better than what the average is now. Like if you look on the whatever, it's a 3. It's a 2 to 3 on the rating thing out of 5 right now.
I think 2.5 is a fair mark.
Yeah,
it gets high points for the action sequence that it had, but overall action sequences I think is low. Character development was good. Pacing was and I think that's the primary problem, like we talked about and we've hammered this point. But that's the primary issue is just
pacing.
So poorly paced.
Yeah.
God.
I like I said, it needed to. If it's a superhero movie or series, it needs to be.
Well, we're using the term hero very loosely here.
Right. Well, I mean, supervillain movie.
Yeah, it's kind of a villain origin story, really.
So I mean, but like I'm saying, if you're doing something that's that way, it needs to be
arc.
boom, ba boom, ba boom, ba boom. And hit the beats where you need to hit the beats.
Right.
I think it would have suffered if as a movie.
Just due to lack of name recognition.
Well, due to the lack of name recognition, and Marvel would be, they would just fall back on the quintessential superhero beats. Like, okay, we get to this part, it's the fake, like they win and find out that they didn't do this, and then they have like this where they fight again and they get beat and they think it's all dark and everything's whatever, but they pull it out here and they do that, like where okay, so this fight they're going to lose, they're going to regroup, they're going to have the big speech, they're going to come back and try it a different way, and then that's going to, so it would have suffered because they're unimaginative in their superhero, the way they do superhero movies.
That's true. The superhero fatigue is very real, by the way.
Well, I mean, it's not really superhero fatigue. They want.
I meant from like the movie perspective.
Yeah, they want stories that and they're like, why would you just want something you'd read in a comic? Well, because you've literally envisioned it in your head by reading the comic and all the stuff. It's cool to see that and know what's coming and kind of get an idea and like, oh, you got to watch this part.
Subverting expectation is part of the fun of comic movies, which is why I enjoy comic book movies. I read a lot of comics. I like comic books.
Right.
I like watching the movies.
I mean, like
Endgame,
they
do a lot of subversion.
Endgame and Infinity War and Endgame were like, it feels like they don't have, like, they're rudderless.
With the exception of Civil War, which, by the way, was just an abomination of a Captain America movie. That was so terrible.
Yeah, I didn't like it. I wish they would have stuck with the original stories for that.
I get why.
Where like Cap gets shot,
but you're
like he literally gets assassinated,
scene and you're gonna have like 10 guys. No, thank you.
Right, but no, but like in the comics though, like there was more depth. Peter Parker comes out and he joins their side and says, "Hi, I'm Spider-Man," and then Aunt May gets killed.
Yes.
As a direct cause of that.
Captain America, quote, quote,
got assassinated.
Right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, all of those things would have been massive.
Right. And that's what I was looking at. That's the stuff I was like, if you would have had those in there, those beats, it would have felt bigger of a story.
Yeah.
Hey, here's people actually being affected by this stuff.
Yeah.
By legislation.
And you could have utilized all of the IPs, which I get why they couldn't do the Sony thing or the Spider-Man thing up until darn near Civil War came out because they didn't have the rights to it, which fine.
Which it still kills me that they don't have rights to their own characters.
I mean, good on Sony. I mean, seriously, good on Sony for being like, okay, listen, we'll share, but we're not going to sell it to you.
No, but that's what kills me. It's like, why would you ever make the deal? You're sitting on. I understand that Marvel needed money, so they just started selling everything out before Disney bought them, or before Marvel Studios even had a that was the last gasp of Marvel. If Iron Man didn't make it, they were done.
Yeah,
and they chose correctly.
Yeah,
Favreau and
no, they did good. I think
Robert Downey Jr.
nailed it.
Mm-hmm. And that's what people are missing nowadays out of this stuff.
I agree.
They're missing that.
It suffers from the same inspiratory, lackluster effort that Star Wars episodes 7, 8, 9 did. It just recycled, regurgitated storytelling for the sake of cashing in. And you know what it is?
It's not an event anymore. Iron Man was an event.
Yes.
Captain America was an event. The first Avenger was an event.
Echo isn't an event.
Echo is a bridge to something new or something different.
Right. And I think that's fair. 2.5 stars. I think that's where we could leave it. It's a bridge into the broader Phase 6 and Phase 7 of Marvel.
This is more
at some point they'll be done.
the Harlem, your street level superheroes. This is the bridge into their stories.
Right.
So I get it. I can see what they do. Whatever. It would have been better as a 2-hour movie, 2.5 hours.
I think so too. All right.
On that note, we are out of here. This is Topher.
And I'm Crazy Chris.
And we will see you guys next time.
Peace.